Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Kimmy. Today I'm going to show you how to make kimchi. I know there are a lot of websites and a lot of videos out there showing you how to make kimchi, and I want to explain a little bit the reason behind making kimchi and why we should be eating it. So if you're an avid Dr. Gundry follower, you will know that he's been talking about eating fermented vegetables, and that's one thing that he said is very important. I personally never ate those things as a child, and even as an adult, I always hated the taste. It was acidic. It just, I don't know, just not quite something I like to put in my mouth. That would be the last thing I want to eat. But after his suggestion, I decided to incorporate a bit of sauerkraut and kimchi in my life. And I realized that it made a lot of changes to my microbiome and my body. I can give you a couple of examples. For example, last year, I was unable to eat any kind of potato chips or any kind of deep fried chips. Doesn't matter what kind of chip it was. I put like 2 or 3 bites in my mouth, I get a canker sore right away. And that canker sore, depending on how much of a bag I eat, if I eat, for example, 100 grams of it, the next day I will probably have 3 canker sores. I thought I had oral cancer. It was that bad. It was like I got those canker sores and they lasted about 3 weeks, and I could hardly eat anything for 3 weeks. And at some point, I basically couldn't eat anything very dry, anything that's like cookies, crackers, anything like that. It just kind of, depending on the oil it's used in there, especially if they use seed oil like canola or whatever, that always caused problem with me. So I was determined to change my diet to see if that makes any difference, and lo and behold, I've been eating kimchi. That was gone. Just recently I bought a bag of cassava chips made with non-GMO sunflower oil, and I ate a whole bag. Nothing happened. So that was the first thing. Second thing was, last year, since I had that oral issue, I bought a lot of those urine dip testers, and I noticed that I had leukocyte, which is like an abnormality of more white blood cells in your urine. So which usually when leukocyte is present, that tells you your body is fighting inflammation. So I know I had inflammation, and I also had protein present in my urine. That means nephron damage, which is the kidney damage to the little filtration system in your urine. So in your kidney. And recently I've been testing that over and over, and the protein is gone. And the other thing is, back then, last year when I tested, my pH level was always acidic, very acidic. On a daily basis, it's about 6 to 5.5, which is acidic. And I noticed that even eating regular vegetables that I cooked in oil and sauteed didn't make too much of a difference. But as soon as I started eating kimchi, it changed, and it's been like 8.0, almost alkaline, and sometimes 7.5. Most of the time it's 7. So that means it's pH balanced. And what does pH balance mean? It means, number one, you're acidic blood or urine causes you to have more inflammation, or it doesn't cause, it's just a result of inflammation makes your urine more acidic, and then you're also more prone to getting mosquito bites and harder to heal when it comes to any kind of colds and stuff. So this is the reason why I started incorporating kimchi in my life. Kimchi is not my first choice, but I learned to make it really easily. I've seen a lot of online resources where people ask you to put preservatives like citric acid. I would totally caution you not to do that. The only reason you want to put that is to extend shelf life, and why we're making things ourselves is to cut those things out of our lives. So I would suggest you not to use citric acid or anything. Just try to eat it quickly or share it with your friends. Now, I bought a humongous Napa cabbage. This is really big. So the way you make a kimchi is not to wash it. You cannot wash it, because once you wash it, you have to wait for the thing to dry. It's going to be really difficult to wait for this whole thing to dry completely. It might actually shrivel. So that is not the recommendation. So what you do when you have a cabbage like this is you take out all the pieces that are already exposed to chemicals or any kind of exposure to sprays. Then those are the pieces you want to let go of. The rest of it is good. I will probably cut off a little bit of here just so that I don't ingest that part that might be also exposed to chemicals. So I'm gonna cut off the bottom and cut off a little bit of the top. And we'll be back after I cut this up, and I'll show you how to put it in this mason jar and get it started. So it's been about 7 minutes, and I cut up my big Napa cabbage. That cabbage in Canada, not on sale, cost me about $9 something. So let's just say $10. So this is about a 4-liter jar, which is 1 gallon in the US. And this is the small jar that I bought from IKEA. So this cabbage overflows into this jar as well. So that gives me one big thing for me to eat and one thing for whoever, my friends or family. So now what you want to do, sorry, I forgot one. I need garlic. So it depends on how garlicky you want your kimchi to be. I would just, like for me, I would just use this, these holes and just leave it like a generous amount. And same with here, not too generous because this is a smaller one. So I don't want it to be too garlicky. But with this jar, I would say 3 tablespoons of salt because of the volume in here. And again, I'm using the iodized sea salt because all the salt these days don't have iodine. And that's what we're deficient in. And that causes all sorts of thyroid issues. So 3 of these. For that sized, I will probably use a teaspoon, do 1.5, because it will be ultra salty in here. Then, because I don't like just salt in my kimchi, I will add a little bit of allulose for just to balance out the acidity. So I will probably add 1 tablespoon, 1.5 maybe. Half of the salt, and I'll just add half tablespoon. Now I'm going to add the Korean chili pepper. So it depends on how spicy you want it to be. I will probably do 2 tablespoons in here for the color. It really isn't that spicy. For this one, I'll do about 1/2. Now, if you want a little bit more oomph to your kimchi, I would add apple cider vinegar. This is a good one. This is the organic apple cider vinegar. So I'll just add 1 tablespoon or 2 in this big jar. And I will add 1 teaspoon in this jar so as not to make it too acidic. Now we're gonna add water. I have some pre-filtered water. This is like reverse osmosis water in my house. So I would suggest you to get good water so you don't get any kind of environmental toxin in here. And basically you want it to filter up to, like go up to around the top of the lid where everything is soaked in this water. I actually stop it right here because these cabbages will come out with water at some point. So you don't want it all the way full, otherwise it will overflow. And then I'm gonna use the spoon to push it down. And same with this one. This one I have more room, so I can just pour it probably right around here again. And now I'm gonna use my chopstick. I can find a match. And just kind of push it down a little bit. And then I'm gonna seal this and let it sit for 3 days on the counter. And after that, I'm gonna move it to the fridge. And we'll check back in 3 days and let you know how it tastes. So it's been 3 days now. And as you can tell, I actually had to remove some water because it keeps going up. So I removed some of the liquid, and so now the cabbage is floating down. And I already tasted it yesterday. I had a little bowl. It actually tasted really good. So it's the chili powder is mostly at the bottom. It's got a little bit of kick to it, but not much. And so I just want to open it now and see. Yeah, the top is a little bit dry, but if I just push it down, I can see the liquid is very bubbly. So that means it's been fermented pretty well. So I'm gonna transfer everything into a smaller container now, because it cannot sit outside for more than 3 days. Otherwise, it might get a little moldy kind of thing, and which is not what you want. But yeah, so you have to find some smaller containers that can fit into your refrigerator, or if your fridge can fit this size as is, then go ahead. But I'm going to transfer it into a smaller container and put it in my fridge, and I'm gonna start eating it starting tomorrow. And I eat a big bowl like this kind of bowl. I can have like about 3/4 full, like in one meal. And I always prioritize eating vegetables now over eating my favorite comfort food like starch or carbs or meat or whatever, right? Because it's so important to put these basically postbiotic signals back in your gut to let your gut microbiomes know that you're taking care of them. And these postbiotics, they will tell your gut buddies, like your gut microbiomes, to work and help you eliminate diseases and cure inflammation, make your pH balanced and everything. So yeah, this is a very simple homemade kimchi, and it costs almost nothing. And I just went to the store. A small jar like this, $20 some here in Canada. So I don't think it's too much cheaper in the US, probably 10. But still, this cabbage itself, the whole cabbage, this is probably gonna end up in 2 of these jars. And this cabbage itself was $9. And our grocery is not the cheapest. So, you know, just imagine if you're in the US, your cabbage is even cheaper. Making this costs you next to nothing. So yeah, enjoy. I hope you will make it and give it a shot.